Hello, welcome to this Thursday live stream. Please let me know if you can hear me in the comments section. I don't know if you can or not. We are working on a Tom Hardy Venom concept tonight. We're going to continue that on from live stream number 24. I think we are, no, live stream number 23. I believe we are on live stream episode 25. So that's pretty good. Whilst we're waiting for more people to join the live stream, I'm just going to show you a quick video about the membership, so I'll be back in 1 minute. So, you want to join my membership?
Gotcha. Sign up.
By joining, you won't only unlock members-only content, you'll also be supporting my channel and the growth of the community. Are you ready to do your part?
I'm doing my part.
For as little as a price of coffee a month.
God damn, Jimmy. This some serious gourmet shit.
You'll be able to access all past live streams and get exclusive members-only content.
Yeah, boy.
That's less than 49p a video.
Shut up and take my money.
So if you're ready, join now and become part of this 3D journey.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
All right, so you saw there, it was the membership. So if you want to see all the live streams that have become before this in the archive section, you can follow along to the dragon tutorial that we've been doing, which is almost finished, and we're going to move on to something new afterwards. So that'll be quite exciting. And also these Thursday live streams where we kind of just sit back, chill whilst I sculpt, and you can ask me questions and stuff like that. So yeah, and also if you become a Patreon member, tier 3, you'll be getting an exclusive tutorial on how to sculpt this velociraptor from Jurassic Park. Kind of like the same thing with the dragon tutorial from start to finish. It's kind of like a beginner's course from start to finish. So check that out. I think they're on to tutorial number 14 or 15 at the moment, so it's fairly at the beginning still. Cool. Right, let's have a look. Let's put some music on in the background real quick, and we're just going to jump straight into where we left off on the 23rd episode. So there we are. Cool. Kind of start a little different here tonight because I bought myself one of these adjustable rigs for my Wacom. So it's kind of like a testing this new rig out. So I might be a little bit slow on the keyboard because I haven't actually got a good space for my keyboard down here, but hopefully it's going to be better than having it on the desk. But anyway, if you have any questions you want to ask, please feel free to ask them throughout the live stream, and I'll try to answer them as best I can. Before we get started, I just wanted to show you some of these new references I found from Pinterest, and I know Pinterest uses a lot of AI stuff at the moment, so there is some AI images in here, but we're only using it as a reference. We're not going to actually recreate what we see here. But I also found some cool looking concepts from other artists in here on a Venom type creature, and also have these ones on the left hand side here, which are images of Tom Hardy's face, as well as 2 that are mine and a couple of the other ones that I just found online as well. I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller. There we are. Now I've got this open on another desktop, on another screen, so I'll be looking at that reference down here to my left, but I'll just keep it open on the left hand side down here as well. So I'm just gonna, where did we start? Where did we finish off here? I think we were gonna try and do something with the head, because what I wanted to do was kind of make 2 versions of him to use in the rendering stage. So we'll have a version with his head, Venom's head, and then we'll have a version with Tom Hardy's head where I'll just cut off Venom's head and basically put Tom Hardy sort of what do you call it, superimposed Tom Hardy's face onto the Venom creature. So for this, I'm going to just select this head piece real quick, And just going to check the geometry here. I think that's too little. Might want to just add a bit more. Please let me know if you can hear me all right in the chat. How far this mic should be anymore, because it's kind of the new layout is a bit just sort of all over the place at the moment. Yep, just going to Dynamesh that real quick. Oh, there's an E button. All right, let's have a look. So how are we going to do this? I guess going to have his mouth open. I kind of like this one, to be fair, the way that's open, his mouth is open. I also got a couple of cartoon versions here as well, for reference. I actually quite like the smiling grin that he's got on this one, so that could be quite interesting. I'm not going to do the tongue hanging out. I think I'm going to leave it without the tongue sticking out, protruding out. That could, if you were doing this for like a statue piece or a 3D printable piece, you could possibly have two different types of Venom's head. So you make the Venom head and then you make the Venom head with the mouth open and the tongue coming out. You could do that. But I think for this one, because we want to we don't want to spend too much time on this one. It's supposed to be a fast, very quick concept. I think I'm going to do is just make it very basic. Because what we're trying to do is make this in line with the kind of concepts you would see for film, really. Just gotta move this around a bit. Here we are. So less in your face. Here we are. Actually, this is a really good bit of kit I've got here at the moment. It really lets you have the Wacom straight on when you're using it, which is really good. It really does hold nicely as well. It's a little bit wobbly, but it's bearable. It's just I'll go find a place to put my mouse or my keyboard, sorry, because it's kind of tucked underneath here, and it's a bit of a weird place to have it. So I'm going to make a cavity in here. Oh, I got some questions here, I got some questions. So first one's from OM, asking, when are you going to make a course on anatomy? It depends. I was going to make so after the dragon tutorial, I was thinking of doing the anatomy type classes, like live streams. I don't know if that's the sort of thing you want to go for, or would you prefer a tutorial you could buy and it's more specific and a bit more detailed? It's difficult to say, because what I could do is we could do a body part a night, or live stream, or one body part for 3 live streams, and we could do that sort of thing, and we could really get into the nitty-gritty of anatomy. I mean, it would actually benefit me as well, because as well, yeah, I am a professional artist, but it would still help me to also get to know the anatomy a little bit more, to be fair, because you can always learn something new. But if you want, you could either have it as a live stream or have it as a tutorial, but it will take more time to do it as a tutorial, because I got to sit down and do it. But that's the great thing about live streams, is that I could just get on here and just start sculpting and literally just talk all the way through it. And then it's kind of like a tutorial, sort of all done in one sort of go, really. So yeah, he also has a question asking, tomorrow is my interview for internship as a character artist. What question do they ask during the interview? Oh, well, congratulations. What questions do they ask during the interview? Good question, actually, because I don't think for the last 2 jobs I've actually had a proper interview. I think it's just because I've got such abundance of work, and they already know that I can kind of do that sort of thing. But what they would normally do, if this is your first time with an interview, what normally happens is you'll have 2 people in an interview, and one of them will ask you the questions, and the other person will just sit there and listen. So that's scary, because when I first started doing these sort of interviews, when I would go in and have an interview, I would kind of ramble, kind of like I ramble through these live streams, but I would ramble so much about everything, and I could kind of, because you can kind of see the second person's eyes just boring into you every time you talk. And I guess what the second person is trying to do is trying to figure out whether or not you're a good fit. A, you're a good fit, and B, you know what you're talking about. Now, when I say good fit, I think what I actually mean is, are you going to be that person who's in the interview, who's maybe the lead character artist or lead artist or principal artist? Are you going to be someone who fits into the team? Do you talk? How do you talk? Can you communicate well? Do you know what you're talking about when it comes to 3D characters and the sort of a basic pipeline that you might need to know? But I guess they can ask you any questions, really. It's not some of the questions they ask you is not actually to do anything to do with the studio. It's more about you than it is about actually doing the work. Because I guess by the time you're getting into the interview stage, they already know you've got work. They know your skill set because they can see it through your portfolio. So they already know you can do the work. The kind of interview stage, especially for the first stage, because usually there's about 2 stages, but the first stage is kind of getting to know who you are, and then the second stage is a little bit more getting to get more about the project, I guess. If you get to stage 2, I guess you're close to getting in, because they'll start talking about the project that they're working on and asking you if you know any of the programs that they need and stuff like that, or the skill sets. So getting to the first one is more about you as a person, and if you can fit into a team, than it is about your knowledge about 3D, because you already know, or you should already know the knowledge, enough of the knowledge to be able to talk about what they ask you. But I guess it's more about who you are as an artist or as a person, basically. Hope that helps. Me, see, again, I'll just ramble on again. Live stream would be perfect about the anatomy. That's cool. We've got Day Dancio. Yeah, anatomy live streams would be awesome. Okay, so I guess from a general idea or general sort of sense of what's going on in the chat, you guys would prefer me to do a tutorial style anatomy live streams, which is fine. I don't mind doing that. What I'll do is, if we had a character like this, I'm going to cut this arm off, cut the leg off, and cut the torso off. I'm going to show you. I'm going to have to plan this out, because it's quite a big thing. Learning anatomy is not something simple. It is very complex. I'd have to break it down into stages. I think that book I keep showing you guys, Anatomy for Artists, breaks it down really well, but it really breaks it down into basics. And if you don't know the basics, then you kind of will struggle with the more complex shapes. So yeah, I think we'll do that. We'll start off with maybe one of the simplest things, and I guess that's kind of like the torso, and then we'll move on down the digits, down the legs, down the arms. But once you have all that, you should be able to. I mean, that's what, one, maybe 2 front and back live stream. The arm would probably be about 2 again, maybe 3, and same for the leg. The hands and feet will be their own thing as well, because they're very complex. As soon as you get down to closer to smaller digits and stuff like that, it does get a lot more complex, so it'll be a lot harder to, or a bit more work in that as well. Got one here from Cakester. asking, do you do mentorships? I don't, unfortunately. I don't have the time at the moment to do mentorships. I barely have enough time to sort of do the other things that I normally do, which is the time-lapse videos for my channel now. So I'm sorry, I don't have any mentorships at the moment. Got one here from Obrad saying, hey mate, great to see you live on YouTube again. Yeah, every Thursday and Monday. Thanks for showing up. By the way, before I get started, or as I'm sculpting, I've had this idea for the last week to have this live stream open for a whole week, so that I can kind of get a gauge of how it does with the audiences that maybe have not had a chance to see this live. So this stream, as well as the previous, as well as the Monday one, are going to be live until next Monday on my YouTube channel. But then they will go to memberships only afterwards. So if you don't have time right now to watch this, then don't worry. You can grab it again tomorrow when you have free time. Cool. I don't quite know. Sweet. Just give him a smaller jaw. Now, Venom's quite a unique creature. His lower jaw is actually quite thin along the bottom here, normally. And then it's kind of thin all the way up until the actual jawline. Maybe not that thin, but yeah, it's a very unique shape actually. Venom's mouth or lower jaw. And if you don't get it right, then you can definitely tell it's not a proper looking creature. Also, his head kind of this one is kind of smaller, but it's sort of slopes a lot more. Kester asks, do you use texturing softwares like Substance Painter, or do you do it all using Photoshop? So most of my time-lapse videos, in fact all of my time-lapse videos, are pretty much ZBrush to Keyshot to Photoshop, or ZBrush to Photoshop. I have got a tutorial that I just created on how to use Substance Painter for beginners, and that's for sale on my online stores. So if you want, you can grab that and learn how to use Substance Painter as a beginner, as well as texture in Substance Painter. But it's just, again, it's time that I don't have to sort of sit down and do every character I create into a substance usable character. I mean, I could just throw some basic UV maps on them using ZBrush, and then take that into Substance Painter to texture, but I'd have to buy Substance Painter again. I think what happened was I bought Substance Painter because I use a subscription service from what's it called, Adobe, and it was just draining my wallet because I wasn't using Substance Painter a lot, so I had to cancel it. And I think if I was to do more characters that actually utilize Substance Painter, I would keep it, but for some, I just don't seem to have the time in my spare time to use Substance Painter that much. So I kind of had to get rid of it, unfortunately. So what I did was I actually made the tutorial before I got rid of Substance Painter. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I was able to use it. But that's actually one of the good things about Adobe subscriptions, is that you can sort of buy into it, use it for a month, come away or stop the subscription, and then whenever you need it again, buy a month's subscription and use it again. It's actually quite handy in that regards. The bad point is when you start to forget that you don't use the project or the program, and then you're kind of stuck. You kind of look at your bank account a couple of months later and you're like, oh, I haven't used Substance Painter for like 6 months and I've just spent so much money just not using a program. That's the one way they kind of get you, I guess. So yeah. That's not too bad. Let's see what we got in here. We got Tranquil Dingbat, sorry. I tried making a whale the other day. I'm rusty, getting back to sculpting after a year, but finding it hard. Any advice to get past the overthinking during the sculpt? Yeah, I think a lot of people suffer from this. It's trying to do well, it might be different for each person, but I find it's when you're away from it for a while, you come back into it, you automatically want to get into the fine detailing and the finished product, right? You forget all about taking your time and sculpting the silhouettes and stuff like that first, and the blocks out shapes, because a lot of the sculpting is actually done in this period that we're in right now. I'll just move this out the way, sorry. In this period right now where we're in Dynamesh, right, and we're sort of having fun moving pixels around or moving the clay around, and you'll find that a lot of these shapes that I've created here are actually going to flow into the final look of this character. Now, if this was, say, for a game or a film sort of character design, I would then sort of change it a bit. I wouldn't be as in a rush as I normally am. I would actually take a little bit more time. I still do the block out stage quite quick, but when it comes to the fine detailing, you'd have to really take your time with it. Otherwise, you could ruin everything, really. So that's kind of the difference. I would say if you got sort of, I guess you'd call it a writer's block, but for like digital sculpting, maybe step back from doing a really detailed character or a really big creature and focus on something smaller, like maybe a leg of an anatomy, you know, of a human, or a face of a human. Don't take it too seriously. Don't think it has to be something that has to be done like to a perfect degree. Just sort of, because if you ask a lot of 2D artists, they would say the same thing. If you're coming off of doing 2D art and you want to get back into it, normally you would just pencil sketches, very rough sketches of everything. You wouldn't, focus on the finer details of things. So it's kind of the same thing with ZBrush. Don't jump into it thinking you're going to be where you were a couple of months ago. Think about easing into it first. That's the word, easing into it. You got one here from Tranquil Dingbat again saying, which one of your tutorials would you recommend for intermediate sculptors, those that know the software but want to get better at the sculpting? So there's two you could look at. There's the Pterodog from Ghostbusters, which is probably the cheapest one. That is a pure recreation of the Pterodog from Ghostbusters. Or you could also look at the squig. I think there's a squig in there. There's a tutorial on how to sculpt a squig from Warhammer 40k, and that's a really basic one. It's basically a ball with legs on it and teeth. If you really wanted to just, sort of get into it again, that's one I would do. And then there's also a little bit more intermediate. It's still beginners, but it's also intermediate and advanced. Would be the Deathclaw from Fallout, and that's also on there as well. Those three tutorials would probably be best. But definitely, I think the squig. Let me just check 1 second. Just check it real quick. Yeah, so the squig, the Deathclaw, or the Pterodog would be the best ones for that. Right. I'm just gonna quickly add some teeth into this creature. Yeah, so the idea is I want to actually get another camera at some point and actually have it over my shoulder here and point it towards the Wacom tablet I'm using so that you guys can actually see me sculpting, but just haven't got the money for it right now. And or the well, it's not actually the camera setup that's the problem. It's the StreamYard, because if you want two cameras turned on, or the use of two cameras, you have to pay a bigger subscription, and I haven't got that kind of money right now to do that. So you're gonna have to just have the one on my face, unfortunately. Cool. So I'll have to find a new place for this keyboard. It's kind of underneath right now, and I'm kind of having to do that. So let me just try and adjust this so that's a bit like that, maybe. I think that's going to be better. Cakester asks, how do you record your time lapses? Okay, so I have a recording software called Ice Cream Screen Recorder, and I use that to record whilst I sculpt. And then what I'll do is I'll edit that in Premiere Pro. Later on. There's quite a lot that actually goes into sort of making these time-lapse videos, to be fair. It's quite a daunting thing to do. What are we gonna do with these teeth? Let's just move this down quick. What's going on here? I'm well aware that these are actually AI ones, so let's try and find. Okay. Let's do something different with the teeth, maybe. Let's make them look a bit more like the cartoon version. Cartoon version wasn't quite like the film version that we got, or the sort of conceptual pieces that we got. His teeth were actually quite sort of animal looking, I'd say. Like they weren't all over the place like the film version, I think. And they had kind of a sort of design going with them. So let's try and replicate that. Talking of designs, I saw some concept work. Well, actually, I saw, yeah, because I don't have the what do you call it? Disney Plus. So I'm not aware of what's going on with the Ironheart show that they have at the moment. But I was looking at the show. I was looking at the stills of that design of the costume, and I'm not convinced it's their best looking design they could have gone with, to be fair. It doesn't look anything like the comic book version. I'll share with you in a minute what I mean by it. I think they went a bit too far with the design, to be fair. I actually quite like the look of the comic version, but who knows? Has anyone else seen that show, by the way? Is anyone actually watching it? Because I think not a lot of people are actually watching that show. The best thing about Venom is that you can actually do him in any way you like, because everybody has their own sort of. Well, I mean, there is a fundamental way you're supposed to make him, obviously, But the great thing about him is that a lot of artists have sort of shape-shifted him into really crazy looking designs and stuff. So it's actually quite an interesting character to sculpt, really, and to interpret. Yeah, so just going to add some teeth to the side here. Cakester says, the Marvel TV shows are for Disney Plus have been so bad, so I just don't bother with them now. Yeah, fair enough. I think I gave up after Endgame. I think that was when I sort of said to myself, you know, this is good enough. I think I don't think I need any more Marvel. I think it's just the stories are not as well written as they should be, which is kind of weird because they got the great sort of artists working on the CGI stuff, and they can do really cool things with the CGI sort of implementation with characters and whatnot and environments, and they can really make whatever you can think of. But for some reason the storylines are just so bad. They just don't work well. Okay. I'm going to mirror this one over, but I'm actually going to append it as a new one, like I always say, because when you're doing the middle version of the teeth, you can actually do a little bit of asymmetry to them to, you know, give it that sort of original or asymmetrical look to them. Sorry. I'm just going to do the same thing for the bottom teeth. And also doing it this way, you can kind of see how big the gap is when you're from your sculpting. So you can actually move these independently rather quickly, rather than having to mask one out and then move into the side and mask one out, the other one out and move it to the side. Tom Aldenton says, writing seems to be the overarching issue with a lot of the franchise TV and films at the moment. Yeah, I would agree with that. Hey, Joseph, good to see you. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think a lot of writing today is kind of weak, which is a bit of a shame, really. I mean, it doesn't take much to make a good film, like writing wise, I'd say. Like let's see Pacific Rim, right? You literally could just have robots bashing each other and you've got a film. You don't have to worry about the sort of script or anything, because no one really cares too much about the script, as long as it's enough to make you go ooh ah at the end of the day. With the robots, there we are. Just hide these two real quick. Okay, and these ones as well. Just going to move those up. Okay. Oh, for God's sake. Turn that one off. That one off. Right, I'm going to merge these all down now. So now that I've placed them in the position that I want them in, I'm just going to go down and merge down. Always okay. Yeah, I'm going to mirror this over now. Pen it as a new one for now, and then just see how they all fit next to each other. You can see it's a bit weird. Got a bit of a weird thing going on here. But I think what we could do is we could actually, maybe we have to move them actually, shrink them, scale them up or something. Just use a move brush really, just to move them into place a bit more. Yeah, I think that'll do. I'm gonna delete these ones. I'm just gonna mirror these ones over fact, a bit of asymmetry in there, and then we can start sculpting around them. So we just add some lips lips in here. That's weird. It's got Botox. Okay, so I'm gonna merge the teeth down now and symmetry on, and let's just squeeze these. And just reshape this front piece here a bit more. Just looks so weird. Yeah, it does look like duck lips, doesn't it? Or duck face. Yeah. You could mess this character up so quickly if you don't do it right. That's better. I think we could go for more of like a new design, I reckon, with this Venom. Like I said before, we're not going to copy it exactly like the original or the one we have here. We're going to give it a little bit of its own character, right? So it might look a little bit less like Venom, original Venom, but it's going to be something completely unique. Let's just move these teeth up a bit. There we go. That's pretty cool. Says, is bro finally reading the chat? Bro? I always read the chat. It's only Mondays I don't, unless it's at the end of the what do you call it? The stream. But yeah, I always try to read as many of the chats as possible on Thursdays. There we are. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I actually quite like the idea of well, I mean, obviously it's Venom, but I'd like the idea of him not having any eyes. Of course, we're gonna have to actually put some eyes on him, because otherwise it wouldn't be Venom. Yeah, it's a little bit difficult to do both at the same time. It's why I'm actually quite slow in these Thursday live streams. Sorry, I gotta move this out of the way. In these Thursday live streams, because I'm kind of reading the chat as well as trying to sculpt at the same time. Normally I would have probably had this all blocked out by now and sort of moved on to more interesting things on the character. Okay, so coming down to geometry again, and you're going to keep the Dynamesh at 540. Just going to re-Dynamesh it. And with these eyes, let's have a look quick. Yeah, you see, I'm not sure which kind of eyes I like. Do I like these ones? Oh, that's not a very good image. Or do I like the original cartoon style, or these more slit type film, like the one in the films, like these ones? Difficult. Hey, Cryptic, can confirm live streaming equals slow progress because of chat. Yeah. Very, very slow. But I mean, I enjoy, you know, answering questions on Thursdays. So if you, like I say, if you got anything you want to ask me on Thursdays, then it's the best time to ask me. I think what I'm going to do is, I like the look of this one, but I think if you would try and make these eyes on the one we have at the moment, it wouldn't look as good. Let me try just make one up as I go along. Maybe that'd be easier. Just gonna pull this down. So let's just pencil it in with the Dynamesh, or Dam Standard, sorry. So kind of, the eyes actually come quite far down here. There's a bit of a lip there. And they take up quite a bit of the head, really. Well, they don't have to take up a lot of the head. You can kind of make it take up less. Big. Give him tiny eyeballs. Yeah, I did that once, and someone sort of complained about that, and I was just like, okay, I won't ever do that again. Yeah, the thing about these characters, right, is that they got such a loyal, loving fan base that if you don't do it properly, you will get absolutely scolded later. Which is fair enough, because, you know, it's a beloved IP and people want to see their IP done with some respect. So I'm just blocking this out, by the way, at the moment. I'm not really committing to anything much. See how it goes. I really like it without the eyes. I'm not sure. Let's try and do these ones. Something like this one. You could just convert it into one of those cool blind creatures like you done before. I could, but the idea of this concept was to show you guys how to put Tom Hardy's head on a Venom character from ZBrush to Photoshop. But I wanted to also give him a Venom head so that you could have both versions. So let me just quickly show you what I mean. Just gonna look at my screen real quick, 1 second. So Where is it? So much artwork in here. I'll just move this to the front here. So this one here, you can see we're going to try and mimic this one. So it's kind of like this is how I did it. So I sculpted the body, then I put the head on, and I sort of blended it, so it sort of blended nicely to make it look like it was part of the concept. It's kind of a film way of doing things, like making concepts. I think I went through this with you guys before. Let me just try and find that other artist 1 second. Here we are. So we're kind of going along the lines of this Constantine Secrets sort of artist. He does a lot of things for film. So he'll sculpt the body and then he'll put the actor's face on the body to make like a concept piece for film. This is kind of what we're trying to aim for with this sort of mini project, you could call it, with Tom Hardy. So yeah, that's a little bit of insight of what we're trying to do. But what I also wanted to do was just add a head on him as well, a Venom head, so that you could kind of use both in the concept. And I'll show you what I mean by that a little later. I think that one looks all right, doesn't it? I think I think thumbs up, thumbs down. Yeah, no. Yeah, I think he did work on Avatar, Cakester. I think he's worked on a lot of Marvel films and a lot of other films as well. Very good artist, love his work. In fact, that's the kind of work that I want to do. So I'm trying to, well, when I find time, I'm trying to do that sort of stuff that he does. I think that's a pretty good head on our character. Now, whoops, let me just grab the references real quick, stick them back here. Now, gotta be a little bit careful that we don't make the head too small, because if you zoom out of your character, you can kind of see the head might be a little bit small, on the small side, right? Let's try and fix that. So I'm going to move these down, and I'm going to make a new folder. Call this head. And I'm going to transpose the set. And just going to scale it up a bit. Do I need to scale it up a bit? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Position it a little bit more. I think just a smidgen scaled up is fine. Turn that off. Cool. All right, cool. So we have a basic head. We can kind of leave that as it is right now. You're modeling a green basilisk lizard at the moment. That's cool. Yeah, lizards are weird. Lizards are a bit difficult, I think, even though they're just like a tube, right? But you gotta imagine that this creature, when you want to show it off, you have to kind of pose it. And I think that's the difficult part, is posing him, making it look smooth and sort of, you know, slithery type thing. But that's cool, man. Oh, sorry, Benanath, is that right? So I have been ignoring texturing for a while. What should I get into, Mari or Substance? What do you want to achieve? Do you want to be in film or game? I mean, both film and game use Mari and Substance. But I think, so as far as I am aware, right, and I used Mari back in the day when I was working at NPC, and they didn't use Substance Painter because Substance Painter didn't utilize UDIMs, which was a massive thing that Mari could handle, was multiple UDIMs. Recently, a couple of years ago, Substance Painter actually started to utilize UDIMs in Substance Painter, which is great because with Substance Painter, it's a bit more like Photoshop, so it's a lot easier to learn. It's a lot easier to sort of get around, whereas Mari is a little bit more difficult because of the extra steps that you need to take in order to make it work, or make it work for you. I would suggest learning Substance because it's so much closer to Photoshop than Mari is, and then once you know Substance, you'll know how to use Mari as well. You won't know how to use Mari, but you'll learn how to use Mari a little quicker, and I think that's one of those programs you need to sit down and really focus on because it's a lot more steps with Mari, especially when you start looking at film pipelines and stuff like that. So Substance Painter, definitely. Mari if you have time. And Cakester says, yeah, the Basilisk has got strain scales on its feet that is used to distribute its body weight when walking on water. Very challenging to sculpt. That's interesting. I thought it was just a big snake. Where's my pen? Oh, so. That's cool, man. Yeah, I definitely would be interested in seeing that when you have it finished. Okay, before I move on to the next part of the body, I'm just going to fill in the top piece here, in front here. This is kind of like where the nose would sit, so you get a little bit of a nose going here, like shape going there. Just barely visible. So it looks like it's protruding like a nose is there. That's one of those things that if you see here, you can kind of see it just around here. It's like a triangle. Obviously the amount of detail we can get into there or into the face right now is very limited because it's so low dynamesh, it's so low topology. So we're just going to leave it as is right there. Cool. Feet. We're not going to really worry too much about the feet, but I will do a little bit of something with the feet. If we just move over to the hands real quick, I just want to check those out. Obrad asks, I work like 8+ hours in ZBrush per day and started a personal project recently, but sometimes I don't have that much energy or motivation. How do you manage this as a full-time artist? That's one of those questions that gets asked quite a lot about how I manage to keep going, basically. And I don't know. I think I'm just, because working full 9 hours at work and then doing an extra 4 hours nearly a night, and that's not just on ZBrush stuff. That's marketing. That's tutorials that I haven't even sort of announced yet. That's editing video and stuff like that from previous time lapses. It can take a big strain on you, and motivation can drag quite a bit. But I don't know what it is that keeps me going. I think it's just I mean I don't really socialize much, I guess you would say, which is pretty bad. I should actually go out and socialize more, but I think what I'm just urged on because I want to sort of, I don't know, make a place where people can go and be sort of motivated by sculpting, ZBrush and 3D art and helping others, I guess, is the main thing. Because I know that when I was starting in university, I didn't have anybody that actually taught me or told me where to go or how to do things. I literally had to learn all this by myself, and it took me 3 or 4 years to actually get sort of fluent in what I was doing. But that was 3 to 4 years that was just so painstakingly long to try and get through. So I kind of want to make it easier for other people by doing this in my spare time, I guess you'd say. And Yeah. It's also leaving a legacy, I guess you'd say. I want to leave something so that, you know, I'll be remembered for. So I guess it just came to the right point during the lockdown where I literally had nowhere to go, nothing to do. And I think I'm still in that mindset. Even though I can go outside, I'm still in that mindset of wanting to work hard and achieve something. I mean, the biggest achievement I'm working towards right now is that 100,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. And I guess once I hit that, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll slow down a little bit and take some time off or whatnot. But I kind of just, I enjoy, you know, quite enjoy these live streams especially on Thursdays. I think Thursdays are much better than the Monday ones because I get to talk to you guys and show you things and show you how to do things and stuff like that. It says, Cakester says, I'll post it on LinkedIn when it's done. I believe we are already connected on there. Cool, man. Don't forget to post it on ArtStation as well, because ArtStation's sort of the place for sort of artists, as well as Kara, the new one as well. I have got a Kara account. I just don't use it that much, to be fair. I have so many things I have to plan through and work through on social pages. It's also tiring, to be fair. Cryptic's Visionary says, yep, same here, and YouTube wasn't nearly where it is now back then. Yeah, exactly. I think I have when I was learning 3D in university, I bought the Maya 2011. No, I graduated in 2012, so Maya had Maya Autodesk had a book, an instruction manual on how to use Maya Autodesk, and I don't even think it had the numbers afterwards. I think it was 2011 I bought it in, and it was about that thick. I think I still have it somewhere. It's about that thick, and it sort of run you through the whole of Maya, but you had to read it, and most of the projects that they had in there were half-made projects because that's how they wrote them. You know, you get half the tutorial, and you kind of have to figure out how everything else worked. And then I was like, I read that book, and I was just like, it's just painful. So I thought, what's the next best thing? So I found this thing called Lidl. Is it Lidl or Lydia? Lidl online or something. And they had tutorials. They were like the very first, well, not the very first, but one of the main places to go to watch tutorials. Because you got to remember, the sort of sitting in front of a computer and sculpting for hours on end live stream was not something that was then in 2011, I believe. Well, it wasn't as accessible back then. So they had some artists work on projects that you could pay a subscription for online, and then you get the artist's work and you can work along to it. Lindell, I think it was called. I think they're still up and running as well. But yeah, that's first Maya I used was I had to read a book on how to use it. Cryptic says, oh wait, sorry. Obrad says, bro, I'm so jealous. What you have is more than passion, it's calling. Just do enough sport. Yeah, thanks. I mean, I should actually get out there and socialize more, and I don't know, you know, do things young people do. Like, well, I'm 35, but do things 35-year-olds should do. Cryptic Visionary says, I had the same one, still have most of my books from then. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm all about. But yeah, I'll tell you what, it got a lot easier learning Maya and ZBrush and Substance Painter. It gets a heck of a lot easier to learn that stuff when you're in the industry. So as soon as you can get your foot in the industry or in the door, and you're sitting next to an artist they usually give you an artist that's just next to you who's a bit more senior, and they can walk you through how to use the program, how to load it, how to to integrate into the pipeline. As soon as you start to actually sit in the office or in a studio and work on the programs, it'll come out. It'll be just really simple. You'll learn very quickly how to use it. And of course, don't forget to constantly work on your skills. It's not something that you just do once and then you think you know it. It takes a lot of time and a lot of dedication to become really good, basically. I mean, I would say that I'm still learning to this day new things every day, especially when you look at anatomy books, because when you look at anatomy books and you see the sort of things that you're missing because you haven't read about it, it's even the smallest thing, like one muscle that you've missed out, which could just change the whole way your anatomy looks on your character, you know. So it's very important to keep that in mind as well. I think what I'm going to do with these hands is I'm going to try and replicate those ones, but I want to keep this really simple, really. I don't want to have to do this for hours on end. So we're just going to incorporate the claws into the hand just to save some time. I guess what the best thing about Venom is that it's symbiotic, right? So it's organic tissue, and so you can really just play around with it for quite a while. It's not like something you have to get perfect straight away. Okay, so that's the little claws, and now I'm going to add some of these knuckles real quick with the clay buildup. Just add some little knuckles on here, and once you start, actually when you start realizing the sort of shapes that you need in certain areas, it just becomes a lot easier. Obviously, I'm using a beginner type anatomy from ZBrush, right? So it's a lot easier for me. But once you start to actually get good at sculpting and you know what you're doing, you can then start to use pre-made models to help you get things done quicker. And it's not a cheat to do this either, to use pre-made models. It's as long as you know the basics of sculpting first. So I'm just gonna quickly pencil in some stuff in here. You can see I like to work really loose when it comes to this sort of thing. I don't like to sort of sit around too much and contemplate on things too much. I like to keep it really basic and fun. We got these tendons I got there. That maybe we can get the standard brush out for this and just add a couple of lines. Cakester says, I also think learning anatomy and sculpting anatomy are two very different things. Sculpting it is way harder in my opinion. I think actually learning it is a little harder, unless you're very good at reading and you can remember all the muscle groups and that sort of thing. Then yeah, if you're more, what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? It's in education when you're more theory based than you are practical. Because I find theory to be just something I don't even go near, to be fair. In fact, I'll let you know something, a little secret. I haven't done an exam, a proper exam with pen and paper since high school, in my career, or since since leaving high school. That's how weird that is. I mean, I can't remember the last time I wrote anything down like properly. And it's getting even worse. Well, I say worse. It's getting even more strange because if you ask children today, are they, how are they learning? Most of them sort of are starting to learn through iPads, and I mean, when I was back in high school, if you took your mobile phone out, you'd be told off and you'd have to hand it in. But nowadays they use them in the actual classrooms. So yeah, kind of strange. But yeah, like I said, I haven't done an exam in donkey's years. The last proper exam I did was my driving test. Theory. Oops. Now you gotta be careful with the hand here, because you can see it from how I've sculpted it. It's got a lot of big shapes in here, but when you actually look at your palm of your hand, I mean, I know we're doing an exaggerated character, but if you look at the palm of your hand, it's actually very flat. It's not a lot of actual shape going, like a lot of bumpiness going on. It's actually quite a flat piece of geometry. So you can really just grab the trim dynamic brush and flatten these pads down a bit more. Okay, so the cryptic says I started jumping into it and it's for sure nightmarish. It's not that bad, guys. It's only anatomy. Cakesa says I go to the gym a lot, so learning the muscles seems easier for me. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I go to the gym as well quite a bit, but I couldn't name all the muscles. I mean, like I mentioned in a previous live stream on Thursday, I think I was explaining how the muscles in your legs look, because I'm trying to learn it and sort of draw it as I learn it and stuff. And there's one muscle in your leg that looks totally alien to every muscle on your body. I will leave that until anatomy live stream, but it's, yeah, and learning anatomy muscles is just crazy. Brain rot is going to be a serious problem for society in the next 20 years or so. That's true. I think brain rot's already here, to be fair. I mean, how many of you have just sat, like, let's just say have sat on the toilet far too long because you're just watching YouTube shorts or TikTok shorts or stuff like that? I mean, this definitely happened to me. I remember lying in bed on my phone, just watching YouTube shorts, and the next thing I know, it's 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and I was just like, what the hell? How the heck did this happen? Yeah, that sort of scrolling stuff that can really take over your body and mind, man. It's crazy addictive. I'll just add some of these knuckles in here. I'm not too worried about the curvature of the fingernails, by the way, or the claws, because it's a speed sculpt, and I think if you actually look at some of the stuff that these professional people have done, even though they're professional, you can even see, if you look closely, you can kind of see the sort of the speed in which they've sculpted it. It starts to show. Let me just quickly show you what I mean by that. It's not to say that their work is bad. It's just to say that they were, obviously cutting corners when it comes to concepting. So let me show you quick. Let me see if I can find an obvious example. Okay, I think this is a good one to use. So if I bring this over here, it's again from Constantine Sikris. Again, I'm not shitting on his art. I'm just showing you what I mean by speed. If you see here, from a distance, it looks pretty cool, right? It looks like a really cool character. Let me just hide my face there quick. You can see it looks really cool. It looks like it works, but if you zoom in, you can kind of start to see the speed in which he's done things. Even the texturing, the skin, the coloring inside of ZBrush, maybe it was, is very quick and loose. And yeah, so, you know, even the greatest artists out there that are part of the film industry and they can do this sort of thing, even they will sometimes do it very quick. And so it doesn't have to be perfect, basically. Okay, so we got some hands there now. It's not until you actually zoom in on the work that you think, oh, okay, yeah, this has been a little bit of a speed job, this one. Which is perfectly fine because, you know, they're under a time scale when you're doing these sort of things for film. So you can't really just sit around and wait. You have to kind of get these things done fairly quickly. I'm just going to move this thumb real quick. Oops. Why is that working? That'll do. Cool. Gotta admit though, the AI videos of Ape are bloody. Yeah, they are. I'm not a big fan of AI, I must say, but that person who created that, I think it's a Sasquatch or Bigfoot or the ape guy, he must just be laughing his way to the bank, to be fair, because I think he made over $1 million. I think over $1 million in the first 6 days after he started uploading those videos, and I'm just like, that is genius right there. Able to do that and to think of that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of AI stuff, don't worry. I do use it, like I say, I will use it as a reference as a reference point, but I don't use it in my actual artwork. I'll just use it to, because sometimes AI spits out quite interesting things that you never really think about in your own head. So it's kind of cool in that way, but like I mentioned, I don't really use AI in my artwork. Cryptic says, yeah, it's probably been working really hard to clear that habit as well as the constant bombardment of notifications. Yeah, that don't help either. Notifications, oh god, it's the dopamine rush, right? It's that dopamine hit. I remember when I was working for a games company in Hamburg. It was a mobile phone company, and we were doing mobile games, and they were quite new in the market, and they were very much growing in the market back then. I think it was in 2016 or something like that. So basically, I went out there. I went and worked at this company as a character artist, but they have these little seminars in the studio, and I kind of put my head out to one once. Like I put my head into this one seminar, and it's all about these programs, right? These programs of these games we were creating, and how they were trying to replicate a kind of casino type style environment into the games that we're creating. So little things like a gem would pop up, and then you would open up the gem and you would get that dopamine rush because it would be like a slot machine or a gamble to open it up and stuff like that. So all those little things, they're actually hardwired from, especially the mobile phone games, they're hardwired from casino style tactics, basically. So they show you bright colors, they keep you going by giving you a credit to use in a slot machine type way and those sort of things. It's very manipulative, but it does work. And if you can incorporate that into a simple mobile game, like these mobile games that keep popping up on YouTube adverts, which annoy the hell out of me, by the way. I'm not rich enough to get the YouTube Premium, but yeah, these mobile phone games are just an absolute bloody nightmare when they pop up. But they use the same principle of, you know, enticing people, as well as the sort of jangling the keys type thing in front of your face, which, you know, people fall for, but I don't, because I kind of know that sort of environment. I'm not a very big fan of it, so I try to keep away from mobile phone game. In fact, I don't have a mobile phone game on my mobile. That's how much I don't want to get enticed by it, because I will just sit there for hours and play that mobile phone game. But, yeah, it's interesting the way they manipulate the customer. I don't know why they keep saying consumer now. They used to say customer. Now they just say consumer to everything, which is kind of annoying. Because you're not really, well, you're consuming the product, but you're a loyal customer, you know. Yeah, exactly. The games also make you watch thousands of ads. Yeah, they do. Unless you buy a premium version of the game, and then you can turn off the ads. I mean, it's all a ploy to take your money out of your pocket, to be honest. Right. That's not looking too bad. That's a pretty solid looking character. Maybe his legs are a little small though. Maybe we just need to... Did we say we were going to make his legs smaller? I can't remember if we said that or not. Let's just make it slightly bigger. That's better. Cakes just says the companies that make the games don't care about your brain rot or wasted time. They just want your... Yeah, well... Otherwise, they wouldn't have made them, you know. Yeah, it's not a great thing, because I mean, what do you? I mean, I could go on forever about it. I don't think I should, but you know, I'll just say this: what do you gain from playing those games at the end? Is all I'll say about that. Anyway, anybody got any other topics they want to talk about? Yeah, don't want to keep slagging off mobile phone games. Oh yeah, that was the thing I was going to ask you guys. Have you guys seen that Netflix show? I was watching Netflix the other night, and I saw this, I think it's Korean anime film that came out. I'll tell you what, some of this Korean anime stuff is really cool. It was called K-pop Demon Hunters. Yeah, K-pop Demon Hunters. And I was thought to myself, do I really want to watch? I'll watch it. Screw it. I'll just bite the bullet and watch it. It could be fun. I'll tell you what, the animation style and the acting of the animations is really, really good. I'm not a massive K-pop fan, to be fair, but I kind of enjoyed the music. I know that K-pop is quite a big thing in, is it South Korea? Yeah, South Korea, not North Korea, South Korea. And they take it quite seriously out there. So there's a lot of documentaries apparently on YouTube about K-pop and how it all works. I mean, I'm not a sort of expert on that, but yeah, it's interesting. Empress Chi. I enjoy the super exaggerated animation style, especially the interface. Yes, I enjoyed like you said, the expressions that they create, because I mean, it's really interesting how they did it, and how they do it, and the amount of blend shapes and control rigs that they must have had for those characters' faces is nuts. I would highly recommend everybody go and watch that film, because it's one of the best animations I've seen in a long time. I also saw the film because I was kind of going down this animation sort of road, because I have a niece, and when she comes around on Sundays, you know, we all have to watch animations, so we can't watch horror films or anything like that. But the film Sea Beast on Netflix, I think it came out quite a few years ago, but I never got around to watching it. I just got around to watching it the other day, and that's got a cool storyline to it, and it's got a cool sort of art style to it. But definitely that K-pop Demon Hunters is probably up there, one of my favorites. Kesa says, I recently finished watching Wild Croc Territory on Netflix, which is where they catch and relocate saltwater crocodiles. Oh, bloody hell. I don't think I've seen that one. Where are you from, Cakester? Because I think it might be region locked. Because I haven't seen that one. It's not in England, I don't think. Unless it is in England. I just haven't had a look at it. It hasn't popped up in my algorithm, maybe. Yeah, I think we're getting close to merging this creature now. So merging the individual pieces. Oh, you're from England. Okay, so it must be on Netflix England then. So yeah, I like I mentioned for the feet. Let's see if I could find his feet. That's more alien style feet. I mean, I could spend some time on the feet, I guess. I'm not a massive fan of doing feet. Kind of like that concept, that comic book artist from Deadpool, Laffiter, I think his name was. He hated doing feet. What I'll do, because he's symbiotic, right? And he has a skin suit on, let's just say. Let's just make the big toe kind of like ninja feet, you know. So you'll have the big toe in there, but then you'll have a ninja sock. We could call it a sock, and we'll just up the resolution a little bit more, so it gives more to play with. And we can just have a big toe in here. Oh, damn standard. Instead of all the toes. Again, we're not going to really see too much of the feet for this character when we actually render it, because I'll darken the base of the character. So we'll just give it some kind of recognition of a toe in here. I'm not a feet sort of person. Empress G says, K-pop Demon Hunters, the animation reminds me a little of Spider-Verse. I think they animated in 2 seconds. Ah, 2S 2 seconds. Okay. Yeah, it's got sections where it's fluid, but then it's also got sections where it's jittery. I think at 2S you mean it's 3D modeled but rendered in 2D, right? Embrace G also says, I avoid feet and hands. They're always for last. Yeah, you know what it is? It's because there's so many things on the hands and the feet that it's just such fiddly things to sculpt. It is a little bit annoying to have to actually to do. And that, yeah, I leave it until last most of the time as well. The thing I enjoy the most is the heads, like busts, creature busts and stuff. I think that's the most interesting part that I enjoy the most. Let's just shape these out a bit more. I'm not going to worry too much about that because I'm going to, also, sorry. What I'm also going to do is use a lot of skin alphas, like skin textures, in order to get that greasy, slimy look to them. So if I just open this up real quick, I'll show you what I mean. So if you see this one here, you can sort of see the surface of his skin is very much alien and got lots going on. So it kind of muddies up the anatomy a lot. So you won't actually see a lot of like this sort of thing going on. It's going to be more like this, basically. Or like this. And you can actually see from the film itself, it's a little bit difficult because of the lighting, I guess, but I think they had the same sort of thing going, especially on this one as well. So there's an anatomy under there, but there's a layer on top that's kind of like an oily, slick sort of look to it. Fluid, you could say. Oh my god. Got some things in the comments real quick. Same, I also enjoy making busts from ZBrush. It means like the animation frame would show twice instead of once, giving it the jittery thing. Okay. From Noble. Thank you, Noble. Also, huge fan of your work. Really love your really lovely stuff. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. ZBrush, what Noble says about animation, I suck at words. No, don't worry about it. We all suck at words. It's one of the hardest things is words. Tell you what, I don't know how other, I think I said this last time, but I don't know how other live streamers do it for hours on end. Like talk and talk and talk and talk. I think they just have verbal diarrhea because I couldn't do this like for 6 hours or 8 hours a day, you know. It just drives me bloody nuts. I think that's good enough. I mean, when I'm finished with it, you won't even notice them. We might just detail them a little bit better a little later. I mean, we could add some more toes, but I don't know. Kind of like the one toe thing going on. Move this out the front a bit more. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. We've got some asymmetry, as I remember, in the front here, so we won't touch too much in the area there. Let's just fix this up here. I always keep saying this as well. Keep moving around your model as much as you can, because you need to see your model from all sides when you're sculpting. You can't just sculpt in one area too long. Unless you're doing a detailed pass and you already have the basics, fundamental sculpt down, it's always a good idea to try to move around your model as much as you can. That's not too bad. Just not sure about these feet. That should be fine. Cool. Right. I'm going to now merge. I'm going to keep the teeth unmerged because You don't normally merge the teeth in. Cool. So I'm gonna merge the body with the head and the arms, the hands. Sorry. Merge down, and then I'm just going to dynamesh this so they are sort of joined together properly, because at the moment they're not. At the moment they're kind of separate models still. So I'm just going to join them by dynameshing, making sure that the topology is quite high, the resolution is quite high, so I can get a good start to it. I think that was actually that was all right. Yeah, and then you can just come in and start to clean up those connecting points. So you see now we're coming away from the block out stage and we're going more in depth. So when we first started, it was big brush strokes. It was big exaggerated strokes, movements with the brush and stuff. Now we're coming closer to detailing. So we need to start using smaller brushes and softer strokes on your character. So you don't need to do this sort of sculpting, which is really heavy on it. We actually need to do a little lighter sort of, what do you call it, build up of the brush, especially for just connecting these areas a bit more, a bit cleaner. So I'm just gonna clean up those areas. You can also use a smooth brush, just a little bit, not too much. Don't like to lose a lot of the detail that we've created with the clay build-up brush, that surface detail, you know. I absolutely love sculpting venoms. They are just so easy once you know how to do it, and so fun to sculpt. There we are. That's pretty cool. Empress Chi asks, how many Venom sculpts have you done so far? Tons. Let me just check real quick. So I'm just going to bring over, whoops. Bring this over real quick. Let's count them out, shall we? So I got got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Carnage is also 1. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, about 19 roughly. Maybe more in my backlog that I haven't I just gave up on. But yeah, I think I haven't shown. Where is it? No. Yeah, it's about 19. She says, how is that? Wow, that's a lot. Do you render your work in ZBrush as well, or do you use other software? So I use Photoshop, ZBrush to render. I used to use ZBrush only to render, but then I switched over to Keyshot for more full style bodies, because this is the kind of thing they use for film concepts. So they'll use Keyshot to do that. So I do ZBrush and Keyshot to render out, depending on what I'm sculpting, really. Noble says, Jesus, done more Venom sculpts than my entire portfolio. Thank you. Cakester says, bro has more Venoms on his portfolio than most people have on their entire portfolio. Thank you. Zio, sorry. So at this point, would you recommend doing a Venom for practice? I'd recommend, yeah, it's difficult. Because Venom's, even though he's a symbiote, right? He's a symbiote, right? He is very much a strongman bodybuilder type look to him, right? So you need to know anatomy, enough anatomy to make it work. When I mean enough anatomy, I mean the big shapes, the shoulder blades, the shoulders, muscles, the biceps, the torso, the legs. You kind of need to know, and also the back and stuff. So you kind of need to know the anatomy a little bit. But if you wanted, you could probably start by sculpting the head, maybe, because that's probably the easiest thing you could sculpt on Venom is his head. The body is a little bit more difficult, but not impossible. Yeah, I mean, Venom, it's like I said, Venom's quite an easy character to get right, because he looks so different in everything, in every interpretation an artist has, right? Because he's a fluid creature. So as long as it looks like a Venom, you could probably get away with it being Venom. As long as it's got the sort of look of Venom or characteristics of Venom, so the eyes, the teeth, and the black suit, maybe the thing on the front of him as well, the spider. I would say the best thing to do for practice would be to grab images online of human body parts or human anatomy and try to sculpt them, basically. If I just jump back into my portfolio real quick, I'll try and do this again real quick. Here we are. So I have a page in here. I haven't done this in a while. I haven't done anatomy sculpting for a while, but I do have anatomy area in here. You just scroll down so you can see it. You just turn it off. So I've got studies in here that I've done, and this is the kind of thing I want to do in a live stream, but not in a posed way. First, we learn how to sculpt it in a neutral pose, and then we'll do sort of 1 hour, maybe 1 hour sculpts of it in pose. It's like you normally do in 2D, how they would give you 30 minutes to draw what you see in front of you as best you can, and then you put your pencil down, and then that's it. That's the sculpt, right? That's the sort of thing you need to kind of learn to do as a 3D sculptor, is to sculpt the major shapes in a very short amount of time once you've learnt the anatomy, obviously. But you can see how I've gone about learning and doing some really quick sculpts. That's the sort of thing I think you'd probably benefit more from than trying to sculpt Venom straight off, basically. You could also do animals. Animals are really good as well to learn if you wanted to practice. So you can do this sort of thing as well, where you just take the bust of the creature and you try and mimic it through sculpting. And these are just very quick 1 hour or 2 hour sculpts. They're not going to be perfect, but they're going to give you enough information to know that is an animal that is in real life or something like that. And this is the hardest one, is like hand sculpting. Again, these were done like 6 years ago. As you can see around here, it says from 6 years ago. So I probably have improved a lot more, but it's the general idea is what I'm trying to put across. You know, sculpt something for 2 hours to your best of abilities. Once you've learned the anatomy, which we will do. Once we finish that dragon, we will touch on this sort of stuff. So, I mean, the dragon's only got tops 2 videos left, 2 live streams left, and then we'll be on to the next project. So don't worry too much about when I'll be doing it, because it'll be very quick. It'll be very soon. I'll start to look into to doing those anatomy sculpts lessons, and we can all learn along with one another, because even I could learn a bit more about anatomy, to be fair. It's not something that you're always going to know. It's something that you need to keep learning, because there's always something new in anatomy. Okay, I'm not going to go too much further. I think that's pretty good for what I want to achieve. Right. I'm just going to change the material quick and just see how that looks. I quite like this basic material as well. It's really good when it comes to fine detailing or stepping away from the blockout stage, because it gives you those nice dark areas where you can actually see where there's shadowing on your character, on the surface of your character. So that's why I use the basic material after a while. Yeah, it's not too bad. Okay, so I'm just going to come up to the face again. Oh, I got this references up here. What I'm going to do is just going to try and clean up this front here. So it has got a bit of a lip there, you see. And then I guess that would just act as the gum line. Obviously, you'd separate the gum line when you do your own sort of professional sculpt of a character, but because it's, like I mentioned, 100,000 times, this is just a concept. I'm not going to worry too much about splitting the gum line, basically. It's too low a resolution in here to do anything, so I'm going to wait until I've re-topoed this to fix it up a bit more. Quite a pointy chin he's got here. It's quite cool. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna start actually doing more detailing. I don't really want to do that right now because I could go on forever. But I think we got to a good point with this character now, from what we actually had before. We've done quite a bit really. So I don't want to go any too much further into it. But essentially, we have the body, we have the head, we have everything sort of going for us right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it there for tonight, and we'll pick this up next Thursday, where we'll start to detail it. I'll re-topo it, detail it, show you how I do that really quickly so that it's ready for a sort of render, sort of conceptual rendered piece, and then we'll jump into Photoshop and I'll show you how to make this suitable for a conceptual idea, basically using Tom Hardy's head as well. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there, guys. Cool. All right. So, that being said, let me just turn the banner off. I'd like to thank. I'm going to thank people now. So, if you want, you can stick around. If not, I will see you on Monday. But I'd like to thank all my members on my YouTube channel. So that is my YouTube channels here, members. That's Emac 3D, Umut, Kan Bolokbisi. I'm so bad with names. I'm going to just say the first name. It's going to be quicker to do. 1 second, just turn this off. Cristiano, Nira, J, Kumar, EFPV, Section Savile, Kushek, Das, Sunil Verma, Alicia Marzella, and Black Socrates. My 1 monthers, Zim VFX, VSWAT, Shira Phoenix, Ricardo, MHN Artist, my Japanese friend, I can't say his name because I can't read Japanese, Talent, Dylan Dixon. And my 2 monthers, I have Joseph Bonkowski, Dave Newhouse, Mateo Selek, Alpinative 35, Ganesh, Joe Lewis, Frateus, Maria Carvalho, I hope that's right, Ivan Savoyne, Nicholas Anastasio, Tia Pong, another Japanese guy, and Wesley and Abishk Paswan. Right. And then finally, my Patreon members, I'd like to thank you all as well. So we've got Alan CE, Alberto, Best in Shot, Captain Puffer, Gradual, Boredom, Jason, Joseph Bonkowski, King Amp, Chrono, Lloyd David, Lost in Limbo, Mackay 903, Rafael Diaz, Fabricio Malepo, Thassa, Tom Uro, and Savado, and my tier 3s, Aaron Todman, Anika Ganesh, Owen Vandermine, Gabrielle Geese, Huffy 76, Roger, and Tyler Kraus. Oh, I'm so bad with names. I'm so sorry if I got them wrong, but I want to thank you all for being here tonight. I want to thank all my members for showing your support. Yeah, have a great weekend, guys, and I'll see you all Monday for the Dragon tutorial. Let me just turn this music off. There we go. Take care, guys. See you later. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in more exclusive content and want to support my work further, then please check out my Patreon page at MLW_creative for more. Also, view past live streams you might have missed in Tier 3 tutorial support, where I will be archiving future streams moving forward. If you are interested in other full-length tutorials, brushes and models, then check out my online stores for more useful content. I would also like to thank all my subscribers and patrons for supporting me for this long. Again, thanks for watching and stay safe.